Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to actually look at a walkthrough on how Loopnet works. I'm going to spend just a second talking about each of these categories. Clicking this goes to the home page. This is the home page here. If you're not signed in, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to sign in a minute. You can use this for free if you want, and for a brief overview of the market, the general public uses this quite often. You can use this as well to just get a feel for getting familiar with the system. We have paid access, and in order to get that, just give the managing broker a call and you'll get access to it. So for sale, this column here deals with all of the commercial properties for sale. So just to define what commercial properties is going to be multifamily, which is apartments, office buildings, industrial buildings, which you guys know what they look like. They're typically flat with the dock loading areas, grade, level loading, the place where the 18-wheelers go in, big yards, lots of open land, and industrial parks where you have big open parking lots and they kind of look like retail, but they're grungier. It's an industrial look, and they're usually in places that are not retail friendly. So you have big industrial plants out in an area. You'll see industrial parks close by, and those are primarily used to store things for, and also have things like production and just general storage as well. Retail, most of us know what that looks like already. Raw land, agricultural, which we never really do here in this market. Hotel and motel, it's done a tiny bit with us. Senior housing, you know, those are usually apartments that seniors are housed in. Healthcare or medical facilities like emergency clinics, hospitals, physical therapy clinics, things like that. Sports and entertainment. This is a good description here with golf courses, theaters, and arenas. Special purposes can be churches. That's mainly churches, and just unusual little types of property. Most of these in residential income are just investment properties where people are leasing for an investor. So out of all of these here, we deal primarily with office. We deal primarily with industrial. Those are the two things you guys will be dealing with here. Sometimes retail about 35% of the time. Okay. All right. So that's for sale. For lease, this is our bread and butter right here on lease deals: industrial, office, retail. These are the three that it's usually always going to be one of these. Now, as far as filling these out, let's go ahead and log in real quick so we can. Okay, so when you log in, let's go ahead and go to the home. When we log in here, I don't really look at this recent activity. It doesn't affect us that much. Now, out of these topics, I usually only go sales comps, pretty much worthless on Loopnet. There are better tools that we use. Property records, we'll never use that. Local information. This is pretty decent to look at for a general overview again, but it's not super accurate. For example, market trends for office being 1682. I mean, that's so broad. It's and where are they talking about? In Greenspoint, that's not the case. In the Woodlands, that's not the case. In Southwest Houston, that's not the case. So, you know, they aggregate this data in a way that, to me, I just don't trust it, okay? But you can look at this to look at top members in Houston. I like seeing these because, you know, you guys should be on there one day. You know, as far as top agents, this guy, Coy David, is very, very active online. He's one of the only other brokers that takes our approach of being very active and publicizing what he does. And he gets a lot of business because of it. And you guys should too. So most of our time is going to be spent on two areas: for lease and adding the listing. This stuff here, this column, it shows you where your reports are. Right here, my reports. Everything else, pretty much, you guys can tool around with and learn. But I don't use my contacts. I don't use save searches. The meat and potatoes of Loopnet is producing reports, okay? And you can learn these other things later, but the reports is very important. So let's go ahead and look at a real live scenario. I have my notes from our Salesforce that we use. This gentleman here is looking for about 5,000 square feet, and I sent him a report. And during the conversation, I took notes on the call. And he said, look, I'm looking inside the loop. I'm looking at Greenway Plaza. So on the 59 corridor, no further than Kirby, no further out than Highway 90. And he'd like to have some type of freeway access. And he named some buildings that he likes. Now, this is very, very common. So he's naming a property, and that's great. He can name that, but what's available is going to show up. So when clients say, well, I want that building, I want that building, what we typically do is we run a search in that area on a few different systems, and if we don't see it, we tell them that it's not listed online as being available. And you still should go back and check by visually going out there and taking a look, because they're definitely going to do that. So you want to go visually check, but if it's not on there, tell them pretty quick so that they don't get their hopes up. Okay, so here are our marketing instructions. We're going to be looking on the 59 corridor, no further than Kirby, and no further out than Highway 90. So let's go ahead and take a look, see what we got. We're going to go for lease, start a new search. Now we get this big menu here. Now, I didn't tell you this, I guess I should. So Steven is a Primerica client. So this particular client is looking for office space. So Stephen Coleman is Primerica Southwest Houston. He's looking for office space. And I told you he's looking for 4,000 to 5,000 square feet of space. We know where he wants to look. And just so you know, his lease expires in about a year from now. So we're starting right on time, so we have plenty of time to get this deal done. So let's go ahead and click office, country, United States, state, Texas, regional market. Believe it or not, I usually leave this open. You can put Houston, so the map zooms you directly into Houston. As far as the market areas here, you can get familiar with these markets. Let's just go through them really quick. Allen Parkway is close to downtown. Central Houston is downtown. Clear Lake, you guys know where Clear Lake is. Let's see. The Far East market is self-explanatory. It's going to be in the Far East, like past the Beltway. The Far Northwest is going to be in the Beltway 1960 area, where many of us are. Far South is going to be the Beltway South. Far West is going to be the Beltway on the west side of town. Kingwood, you guys know where Kingwood is. North Belt is going to be the Beltway. North Loop is going to be the 610 loop. Okay, 610 and 290. Northeast is going to be 610 East and 610 East Houston. The Southwest Freeway is going to be 59 and 610, that general area. The West Loop is going to be the Galleria area. West Chase is going to be I-10 West, close to the Beltway. The Woodlands and Conroe is going to be 45 North, all the way up in the Woodlands Conroe area. Generally speaking, we don't have to click one of these markets because I love using the map, and I'll tell you the benefits why. The submarkets, once you click on something like Central Houston, it'll show you all the submarkets within this area. So submarkets for Central Houston, which is downtown, is the downtown market. The submarket for the Allen Parkway corridor is going to be these here that are listed. So we're going to go ahead and put all markets because we want to use the map. County, leave that blank. City, we want to put Houston. Street, we're going to leave blank. Search within blank miles, we also leave blank. And for space available, this is important. We want to put, let's put 3,500 to 5,500 square feet of space. Now, generally for space available, I like going 1,000 square feet higher and 1,000 square feet lower when we're talking about 3,000 square feet and up. If somebody tells you they're looking for 1,200 square feet, then go plus or minus 500. So let's say somebody's looking for 1,200 square feet of space. We want to go, let's say about 800 square feet, because they're not going to go into something 500-600 square feet. Let's say 800 square feet up to about 1,700 square feet of space, approximately. You'll get a feel for it, but you don't want to be exact. So if somebody's looking for, like this client is approximately 4,000 square feet, I would not want to put 4,000 square feet to 4,100 square feet of space. I wouldn't want to do that because it's going to only give me spaces that are exactly that fit, and that rules out so many different options. You want to get a little bit lower, 3,500 square feet, a little bit higher, 4,500 square feet. Lease rate, I leave open for now, even though his requirements, that's not in my notes here, but I know from knowing this client that his requirement where he's at now, and you always want to look at where he's at now as a reference, he's at 7211 Regency, and the rent there is about $12, about $13 per square foot per year. That's what his general range is, $13 per square foot per year. So I'm not going to limit him to that. I want him to see the full market, so we're going to leave this blank. Building size, I'm also going to leave this blank. So we're just going to go ahead and hit search. All right, so this is the entire map of the city of Houston. Notice here it says over 200 results returned. Zoom in to see more. So when you get that, they're not showing you some options. So as you can see, there are a lot of options that have 5,000 square feet throughout the city. And you see a ton of options in this general area. Now, he wanted to look on the 59 corridor. So this is 59 here. And he said from Kirby, no further out to Highway 90. So let's look for, you guys know where Kirby is. Kirby is generally in this area here. Generally, yeah, it's about this area here. Or, no, I'm wrong. It's actually further up. So it's here. Kirby's in this area. So we got Kirby, and it's no further than Highway 90. And that's a pretty big area. This is Highway 90 right here. This road, I'll zoom in so you can see it. This is Highway 90. So what I'm going to do is he gave me a territory. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and do a boundary search. Before I get to the boundary search, I'll explain what these are. This column here helps us refine our search. It translates the information you put in from the previous page to this one. So as you can see, lease rate is blank because we left it blank. There's two buttons here, annual and monthly. When I told you guys before that he's looking for $12 to $13 per square foot per year, that's the annual rate. So monthly would be the annual rate divided by 12. Okay, so if somebody is looking, if somebody's rate is $12 per square foot per year, then that's going to be $1 per square foot per month. And the quick way to do the math, if you ever have to convert this, if somebody's rental rate is $24 per square foot per year, then in order to get the monthly rate, you just divide it by 12, and that's $2 per square foot per month. The reason that's applicable and important for us to know is when we're looking at annual rates for rental properties, let's say that he wanted to move in this River Oaks building, okay? And he wanted 5,000 square feet. He's going to ask you, well, how much is that a month? Well, they give you the square foot per year. So the first thing I do is I look at $14.95. That's the rental rate, dollars per square foot per year. I multiply that times the square footage, okay? Which is, let's say it's 4,000 square feet. Now this gives me how much he's going to spend a year, which is $59,800 a year. But he's asking me how much I spend a month. So I'm just going to divide that by 12. And that's how much he spends a month, $4,983.33. Another way to do that is just go ahead and convert this from the very beginning into price per square foot per month, which is $14.95 divided by 12. So that's $1.25, because I'm rounding it up, per square foot per month. So if I need the monthly cost, now I just have to multiply this times the square footage, and there you go. You get the same number. So putting this in the price per square foot per month kind of is a shortcut, and it's something that just refer back to this or give me a call if you need help with it. Space available, we said 3,500 to 4,500. Your keywords, this can be helpful if you're only looking for properties on a certain street, if you're only looking for a certain name like the River Oaks building. If that's all I really wanted, I can just type in the River Oaks building and it'll find anything with this name on it. And that's what I'm looking for, right? If that's what I was looking for. As far as property types, we've already selected this. It's office. So Loopnet has already gone in and selected each type of office automatically for us. And everything you see on this side is there's a corresponding tag here. So if I mouse over, it shows me where these properties are. This is very helpful if I want to screen out any ugly buildings. Any buildings that don't have a photo, I take out. Because if the broker was too lazy to put a photo on here like this one, you know, then it might be a sublease. I need to investigate that, because if they didn't take the time to even do a proper listing, I don't want to send my clients over there. I don't really want to spend time with these guys unless I know they're on the up and up. But if they have a nice listing, nice picture is laid out well, it's just an indication that they're organized and that you're going to get paid. People that are too disorganized to even set up a proper LoopNet, I really don't want to do business with people like that, and I don't want to introduce my clients to people unless it was some kind of fluke. It deserves investigation, but always be suspicious if you see a building that does not have a picture here. And they may just be hiding the fact that it's a very ugly building also. So always do your homework. So that's what this bar is for. Now we know our general area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline the draw polygon here. All these disappear because it's waiting for me to draw the boundaries. So he told me he wants from 59, from Highway 90, all the way to Kirby, which should be, that's Hillcroft there. And so it should be up here. There's Dunleavy. So I'm going to go ahead and start right about here. And I just click there. And I just follow 59. All the way to Highway 90. And then I swing back around. Once I finish the loop, and once you connect all these dots, now it shows me all these properties here. And there's too many. I don't like sending my client this many properties, but that is what he wants to see. So now what I'm going to do is, a deal is in this universe somewhere. A quick way to count, because I'm not going to count each one of these, is I just go ahead and click this button here, and it tells me I have 78 properties. Well, I don't want to give my client 78 properties. So now I think I do want to screen some of them out, because we're not going to look at 78. We're not going to tour 78. When you send people too many properties, it can you can miss what you really want to see. So I know that he's paying about $13, $14 a foot. I know he's not going to pay too much more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a cap on these at about $18 a foot. Okay, so from zero, so the lease rate for the building can be from $0 per square foot per year to $18 per square foot per year. So when I do that, okay, now I'm going to clear this. So it resets it to 0. Let me see how many I have now. Now I have 37. That's a much more manageable number. So based on my conversations with them, I'm going to do another scan. River Oaks building, I'm okay with this one. Southwest Center, I'm okay with this. Texas Eye Institute, these are good. These are good properties. Now the Galleria Oaks, I know that this is a problem building, and we already discussed it. So I'm going to take this one off the search. This one has video, that's cool. So a lot of these buildings you'll get very familiar with. This one's a Boxer property. I really don't want him in a Boxer property, but I'm going to keep it on there. I'm just going to discourage him from going there. Westbelt Center. You know, this is something that may or may not work. I don't like this building. I also know this building well. That's a very trashy building. Okay, I'm having problems now. Oh, let me. Okay. All right. Now, this one also. Uptown Galleria. This is an old listing, which is the same as the one I took off before. You wouldn't know that, but once you get into the market, you can recognize these. So everything else looks pretty decent. Now this one here, this one says 0.12 per square foot per year. and it just looks, I don't know if you guys can see it with that tiny picture, but something just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a very and it doesn't look a very good building, and it's 3,800 square feet. It's on the smaller side. I'm going to remove this one. I don't think we need to waste our time with it. My client is going to trust me to select buildings that are a good fit. I've already sent him a comprehensive list of things that are out there. I really want to start narrowing things down. The more you give them, the more work that you have. And I want you to do more work on the front end so that you can remove things that don't work, so that you're not wasting their time. Make sure you understand why you remove things so you can explain it if asked. But you want to do your due diligence and make sure that they're qualified properties. So once we have a list like this, we're going to go ahead, since all of these are already selected, except for the ones we don't want, we're going to hit Create Report. So now we're going to go to, I almost always use Listing Summary Report. We'll go through each one quickly. The Listing One-Page Report, that's a large, it shows the property, all the details, all on one page. This is good when you have 2 or 3 properties, but that almost never happens. We usually have more than that. The Listing Full Detail Report, that's going to be almost the same format. It just has more financial information there, which is pretty worthless from Loopnet, so I never use this either for clients. Listing Summary Report is very good. This is the one we always use. It gives you a summary of everything that's going on multiple pages. So I can send a page of 37 listings in a few pages and give him a quick snapshot of each one. That's the most efficient for clients. Listing Comparison Report, if you have 5 or 6 that you want to lay out, you want to compare, this one's great for that purpose. I would use this when you're finalizing options. When you have 4 or 5 options you're choosing from, when you're setting up a tour, Listing Comparison is a great report to use. Listing History Report. So this shows you the deal history for a building, which is important when you go on meetings and you want to show them kind of what's going on in a property over a period of time. This is very helpful. For the purposes of this video, we're going to go to Listing Summary Report. So we're going to click Use this template, and it takes you right to this screen. It's a pretty cool program that lets you do everything on the fly. So for the report name, we always want to put the name of the person, Stephen Coleman. We want to put the type of property, office. We want to put the square footage. And I say 3 to 5K square feet, which basically means 3 to 5,000 square feet. We want to put the market, Southwest. And I like to highlight this and copy it because I'm going to use it again and save that. So that's the name of the report. That makes it easy for you to find it later. And when I put prepared for, I like to put the same thing so that the file name matches. So when we look at this menu here, we want to always keep this in portrait layout. We want to display the, you can take off the contact information if you want, or we can change it to Assurance Advisors. Okay, or you can put your name there too. We want to include the map on the report. We don't want to include links to listings unless they're a good friend of yours. If you do this and you don't know the client, they're just going to look at this, look at Loopnet themselves and may not want to use you if they don't know you yet. So I always try to keep this off until you build a relationship with the person. Display the prepared for section. That's good. Display the listing broker's contact. Don't ever list that because you don't want your clients contacting the broker. That's your job. It's not that you don't trust them. It's just that that's your job. And if you're not calling them, there's other problems. Display the listing property description. That's okay. Now display the spaces. I like to put no. And the reason I'll show you, it's a much tighter layout. See how everything is really flush and you have multiple properties on one page? If I don't do that and I put display in the spaces, you have all this information here. This is useful after they select and narrow down the properties down to maybe 4 or 5. Until they do that, I don't want to do that. Okay, so here is the finished product of this report. I always scroll down to check to make sure that the map view is showing. So this is a very good look. and we're just going to download it. So you hit download as PDF, you click on that, and that's going to allow you to save it. Now I have this automatically saved to my Google Drive, and if your file structure is set up like it's supposed to, you just go straight to your clients, tenant representation, and that's him, Stephen Coleman. And I can just cut and paste again that title I did, so it's easy to remember, and boom, that's done. So that's how you do a Loopnet report. Don't forget to send it to your clients after you do it, by the way.